Hey guys, so the data download has happened, and we're going to take a look at the Kefla, the Legends Limited Kefla, and Frost. So this is actually going to be our first time seeing what Frost even does. It looks like he is red, which is a very good sign for full power Frieza. For Kefla, oops, I did a in-depth breakdown yesterday. If you want to take a look at that, I go through the entire kit. She is a melee type, that's good to know, and of course we knew that she was green, which I thought was the most likely color for her to be, you know, just saying. All right, let's go ahead and see what her stats are. Whoa. That's a lot of strike attack. She's gonna, so without the, what? So without, okay, so the way I like to do this typically is, I guess I should explain this because I don't think I've explained this in a long time. When you click the display maximum stats button, it takes into consideration the arts boost. So this character is now getting the extra 13,002 stats from the arts boost system, but it does not factor in the title boosts. So the game has titles that up until a certain point in the game, I think it was probably right around the 5th anniversary, where they stopped doing this, but titles used to give you stat boosts permanently across your account. And because we don't own the character, it's actually not factoring in the title boost. So the way I like to typically do this is, you take away the 13,000 for arts boosted stats, but then you have to add back in the title boosts that the game is not accounting for here. So I usually like to subtract around 8,000, and that usually ends up being right around where the character is going to be sitting without arts boosts, because not everybody's going to have the resources to fully arts boost every single character. Of course, I will be arts boosting Kefla, but she's going to be high 270 to strike attack. That is pretty crazy. So that really, I think, does actually have an effect on how hard this character is going to be hitting. One of the things I said yesterday in the big breakdown video was I'm a little concerned about her damage because she doesn't have the craziest damage multipliers in her kit, but that's promising. But even like Blast is going to be above 260, so that's really good. And then strike defense is going to be above 180, and then her Blast defense is just going to be barely below 180, so stat-wise, she looks very good. Very, very good. Now, she holds these cards here. Yeah, 10%. Okay, so enemy health restoration minus 20% on hit is pretty good because the Frieza Saga team with Krillin, which I think is the best version of the best team in the game, the Frieza Saga team, I think that team is just the most healing team in the game. Right, it's like basically Daima, but the bottom card, now we're starting to see them add more interesting effects on some of the area-specific arts cards. So we saw with part 2 of the anniversary, we have like the Vegeta who gets more blast damage with his card in the air. Goku gets the strike card for the ground. Now this Kefla, look at this, 10% health when using this blast card on the ground. 10, that's a lot. 10% health? That's like a green card for some characters. That's good. That is good. Obviously, her main teams are going to be Universe Rep and Fusion Warrior, and then she's, of course, on Saiyan. She's on a lot of, like, these nonsense teams, like Super Saiyan 2, Girls, Potara, Rival Universe, Universe 6, all kind of just, like, not real teams, but she does have some actual teams, which is good. Does have Blast Armor, and then this I actually think is one of the highlights of the character, is the blue card. This thing has a 30% chance to faint. That's like early Legends level faint. That's like 2018 level faint. Like Blue Broly Blaster Shell has this. Keep in mind, this is a ranged blue. I guess we can't confirm right now whether or not this is a projectile or not. I don't think it is. So we're talking about, this is actually just like modern Blaster Shell. This is what this is. That's going to be really annoying. This, by the way, is a stop time green card, and then I guess we can just quickly mention that she does actually support with her ultimate ally special move, ultimate awaken damage, 20% uncancelable once, and then she does grab another ultimate once with her green card, so she can use 2 ults in a match. And then the other thing I want to highlight is going to be her unique gauge. This, I think, is going to be a big staple for this character, and the fact that she also does get it's going to be here. Every 15 timer counts while not defeated, she's giving herself 15% damage and then 20% unique gauge charge rate and health restoration. So she can have up to 60% unique gauge charge rate, on top of the fact that this thing is charging as fast as the Saiyan Saga Vegeta from part 2 of the anniversary. So this is going to be charging super fast. Like literally, this charge gauge, you're going to be able to fill this thing up in like one charge step animation. It's going to be instant, basically. So what I'm going to be interested in seeing here is how long does it take the release type gauge to deplete? And something else I'm actually interested in seeing is, does the charge rate buff affect how fast the the release gauge takes to deplete? Because I actually think the way you want this to work is, I'm kind of thinking you want this to work where the release gauge depletes fast. And the reason why is because I think you just want to go back and forth between this and this as many times as possible. Like, you just want to be going back and forth between the charge gauge and the release gauge, so you can just keep constantly getting all the buffs from these things. So, looks like an interesting character. She has some vanish restoration things as well, so we'll see. But I don't know. This is definitely a character where I'm going to have to use her before I can even give a proper evaluation, because there's a lot of things that she's doing that it's hard to really gauge how good they're going to be on paper. So that's Kefla. Let's take a look at Frost. So Frost being red, he is a melee type, which I guess is not the greatest thing ever for LOE specifically, but LOE getting some more buffs here from Frost. So let's go and see what his stats look like. Okay, I mean, I don't think these are like insane. It's 260, so again, he's going to be at like high 250s, which is eh. Blast is not very good. And then defenses are just like okay for a 1% sparking. They're both over 170, but it's kind of like the bare minimum of what you'd want. So stat-wise, not too good so far. Holds a strike and a blast. So this guy is on Lineage of Evil and Universe Reps. Those are his two teams. Strike does have blast armor. That's good. Normal blast card. The blue card is Chaos Assault. You can teach this. Okay. Activation, special move damage 20%, special move damage against Tag Saiyan 20%. So he's getting 40% blue card damage against Saiyans. On hit, he's destroying a Dragon Ball twice. That could be pretty good, actually. I do like that. And then the green card is Full Power Chaos Charge. This is a stop time green card, 15% health, 50 ki, 20% damage, cover null for 5 counts, and then LOE or universe rep damage 20%. Okay, so he's actually supporting with the green card. The ultimate, Full Power Chaos Ball. So this is activation, ultimate damage 50%, ultimate damage against Saiyans 30%. Okay, so he's doing 80% ultimate damage against Saiyans, cancels enemies attribute upgrades / buff effects, and then on hit, he's actually healing the team by 25% and reducing some. This is like blue Saiyan Saga Goku ult. It's like the same thing. That's good though. It's kind of like a supporting ult that hits hard against Saiyans, and then of course blast armor. Main ability, draws the ultimate arts, 20% health, 30 ki, 20% crit damage. Huh. That's a really rare stat to see on a character. Critical damage. They created blue Super Saiyan Bardock, and then they're like, we're never touching this stat again. It's just like a mistake. So this is a very rare stat to see on a character. Nullify attribute downgrade / the normal conditions for 15 counts. Okay, that seems like a decent main ability. Lineage of Evil or Universe Rep or Red, 35% strike defense and 35% blood. So double defense, huh? And then Lineage of Evil gets 18% strike, sure. All right, starter ability, he's getting 260% damage. Oh, 170% damage guard and then 30% damage guard against Saiyans. Huh. So he's just got 200% damage guard versus Saiyans. And then if you run Kefla with this character, he's going to get the extra 15% damage guard support. Kefla is giving 15% damage guard support to Universe Rep characters, so this Frost is going to be sitting at 215% damage guard versus Saiyan characters. That's pretty good. That is pretty good. 100% ki recovery is also really good because the Frieza Saga team is just like super oppressive with the ki reduction and this increasing cost and things like that. Draw speed, sub counts on switch -1 is also good, only for 90 counts though. Ally Lineage of Evil or Universe Rep damage 35%. Okay, that's a pretty substantial support buff. So if you factor in his own support, he's giving himself at the start of the fight 295% damage inflicted, and he's sitting at 200% damage guard here. Okay. All right, yeah, 35% damage. Like, this guy's just giving full power freeze at 35% more damage on LOE. All right, so here's his unique ability. On battlefield entry, 30 key, destroys one enemy card. All enemy strike and blasters cost +10 for 10 counts? That's super annoying. Wow. Usually something like this would be like 5 counts. 10 counts is a lot. Also, before 90 timer counts have elapsed from battle start, critical rate plus 40%. So that's why they gave him this, the critical damage. Critical rate plus 40%, nullify special cover changes for 5 counts, and protect hand. So he's got card protection, cover null, and crit rate when he enters the battlefield for the first 90 counts. On enemy tag Saiyan character confrontation, draws a card, 30 key, and 20% damage. So he's getting 60 key when he enters the battlefield if the enemy's using a Saiyan. Or I guess if there's a Saiyan enemy on the battlefield. I guess the one thing to mention is if there's no enemy Saiyan, he's not actually drawing a card on entry, which is kind of not good, but most of the time I feel like there's probably going to be a Saiyan, right? On return to standby, nullify abnormal conditions up to 2 times. Ally tag Lineage of Evil or Universe Rep damage against Saiyan plus 15% for 20 counts. So he's supporting full power Frieza to do 45% extra damage against Saiyans because he's it's 50. 35% here and then 15% here. Yeah. So full power Frieza is essentially getting the same damage buff from this guy as he is from Krillin against Saiyans. Also, if 90 timer counts have elapsed from battle start, okay, so he kind of has like 2 different types of things here. This is before 90 counts have elapsed. This is after 90 counts have elapsed. 30 key ally health plus 10%, and then ally tag Lineage of Evil or Universe Rep damage guard plus 10%. Huh? For 10 counts? Huh. This is a weird ability. Because the way this works... You know what this is? This reminds me of the purple GT17. Because that purple GT17 healed himself. I think it was after 30 counts of the match elapsing. You would just see him basically fully heal himself. This is kind of similar to that. Like, he's just sitting on standby, and all of a sudden the timer hits 90 counts left in the match, and he's just healing the whole team. Oh, wait, no. You know, no. Sorry. This is on standby is what this is. Yeah, so the way this works is this little arrow is basically corresponding to everything below it. On return to standby, if 90 timer counts have elapsed from battle start. 30 key, 10% health, and damage guard support. Huh. So this guy really is kind of just like a mini Krillin, or not even like a mini Krillin. This is a Krillin who's just like an actual competent unit on his own. It looks like. Granted, it takes 90 counts for you to get this portion of his kit, though, right? He's giving 50% damage against Saiyans. He's giving 10% damage guard support. He's healing the team every time he swaps out. He's giving ki. Okay, and then he has death buffs. When defeated, ally health plus 20%, destroy entire enemy hand, enemy ki minus 100, and draw speed minus 1, and all enemy subcounts plus 5. Yeah, the combo of destroying the enemy hand entirely, and then all enemy draw speed minus 1 for 30 counts. That's super annoying. Granted, there are a lot of ways to cleanse yourself of that debuff, but this seems like a decent death buff thing. The only thing that's missing from this is Dragon Ball Destruction. Would have been nice to have on this death buff, but he's got that on his blue card at least. And then his cover change is against strikes. Damn, this is... I would have preferred if this was against blasts, just because LOE, when you're running this guy next to Ultra Full Power Freeze, Full Power Freeze, it does have a strike cover change. I guess the yellow one is a blast one, though. So. Okay, I kind of like this guy. He seems pretty good. So actually, if you think about this, if you use this guy on the Universe Reps team, he's got 200% damage guard versus Saiyans here. He's getting the 15% support from Kefla. And then the fact that this... Well, actually, no, I guess this wouldn't work. Right, because he's only giving the 10% damage guard support for 10 counts. Whereas the damage buff here, ally tag, Lineage of Evil, or Universe Rep damage against Saiyans for 20 counts. The fact that this is 20 counts means you actually can double up on this buff, right? Because you swap out of Frost, you can swap back in 10 counts, and then you could swap back out of him again, and then you could have 2 instances of this buff active at the same time. You cannot do that with the damage guard buff because it's only for 10 counts. But this guy still seems pretty good to me. The only negative I'm seeing initially is just the fact that he doesn't get a card when you enter the battlefield. It's only specifically against the Saiyan. That kind of could hurt him, I think, but I think he seems pretty good. This is strong. This right here. All enemy strikes such blasters cost plus 10% for 10 counts, or plus 10 for 10 counts. Yeah, I'm pretty excited to test this guy out, actually. He seems pretty good. All right. Red Full Power Frost. In terms of equipment, I don't think there's really going to be anything. I think it's just going to be the Awakened equip because Russia's resetting. Let's just do a quick sweep and see if there is anything that I am missing here. Anything? Doesn't look like, it just looks like the Awakened equip. So the Awakened equip is... What is this? I actually don't even remember. Is this the one with the negative stats? I actually don't remember this one. This is for Universe Rep. Okay, started off really strong. 12% HP. Slot 2, 23% base strike and 10% to pure strike defense of this character's tag Universe 6. And then the same thing in Slot 3. Yeah, this is good. Slot 3 is Rival Universe. Yeah, I think you just run this on every single Universe 6 character. I'm pretty sure. I mean, who wouldn't use this as a Universe 6 hit? Maybe Ultra Hit wouldn't use this because you really want to maximize his damage. This doesn't have the craziest damage. It's just 23% to base offenses, but 10% pure defenses and then 12% health. This is a strong equip. This really is a good equip. Okay. Seems good. And then I think I did see some data mines saying that we are going to be getting a raid. And then there is a new event actually dropping as well that gives CC. I think it's probably similar to like the anniversary challenge battle, but we'll see. It's like the Universe 6 Warrior event or something like that. So you got that. You got a raid coming in. And then I think next week, because we're about to head into August, next week I would imagine we're going to be starting a new celebration. Just because they usually do that every month, unless it's going to be like a big celebration. So next week, I think we should see the beginning of a new celebration. I don't think this is like the beginning of a Universe Rep thing. I think this is just like a one-time character drop here for Kefla. And then next week, we're going to be moving into, you know, the movies campaign or the GT campaign or whatever it ends up being. So we will see what that ends up looking like, but of course we will be doing live summons for Kefla and Frost, then we'll be doing showcases, then we got the equipment guide, then we got you do summon, so yeah, a full day's worth of videos coming up. Hope you guys enjoyed this one. Let me know what you think of Kefla and Frost, and I will see you in the next one.